Now, of course, if there are any Maka fans in the house, give a cheer for your Korean Terran.
And how about anybody here supporting DeMusliM?
And we are almost loaded up on Xel'Naga Caverns. Very great map. Always allows you to play very, very strong, straight-up games.
Absolutely. So, for anybody in the audience who doesn't know right now, StarCraft is a game of army building and micromanagement. The most important thing you can do, of course, is to build a powerful economy using your workers to collect resources, build a huge base, the biggest base you can afford, and make a massive army to crush your opponents. So you're going to see these players looking to defeat each other's bases, to defeat each other's armies, in many cases looking to target their economy specifically. And watch out for Reaper raids, watch out for Banshee attacks. All of these are weapons that players can use. Drops, in many cases, are weapons they can use to target their SCVs specifically to try to weaken their economy and reduce their ability to continue fighting in the game.
So we do have MakaPrime spawning in the top right as the red Terran already planting a supply depot down at the front of his base. DeMusliM asking a little bit about the brightness of the lights in the room. He is spawning in the bottom left as the blue Terran and just being very safe with that initial depot, planting it nice and neatly tucked next to his command center.
Now, it's interesting. Do you think that there's any sort of seeing into their strategies based on where they place their supply depot?
Well, generally, yeah,
because I'm pretty sure that you're a clairvoyant.
Oh, why, thank you. Yes. Now, of course, if my third eye has been opened properly before this match, Maka likely going to be either going for some sort of expansion. DeMusliM, of course, is apparently just like squinting in the middle of his game. It is very, very bright up here on the main stage, or perhaps he just can't handle the heat. But either way, doing a good wall off like this, generally not going to help against defending an early army, because players do play a little bit more safely at the start. It's going to be most helpful if he's rushing for Banshees or if he's doing a hidden early expansion.
A little unusual for Terrans, too. Usually Terrans are building a little further back to avoid the attacks at their front line. I guess in this case it could be used to potentially block a Hellion attack, which we've seen these kinds of players do at very high-level play, trying to get in amongst the workers, even in Terran versus Terran matchups.
Right, and generally, if you expect that your opponent is going to underestimate you and not see those Hellions coming in, oh man.
Oh, it looks like we are having a pause.
This is an official pause. Has this happened? An
official pause by our official DeMusliM, who is, of course, taking matters into his own hand. Now, a lot of people would be a little critical of that, but I actually do defend DeMusliM in this regard.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You need to have the most exacting setup. You do not want to have anything.
No, this is nothing distracting at all. StarCraft, and I've said this many times before, is absolutely a game of inches. Where the smallest advantage can make a huge difference. If a unit is, a couple of feet to the left or a couple of feet right, can make all the difference. And a bright light in your eyes is just not going to work out for the guys at this skill level.
Yeah, if you can't see any units at all, that's definitely going to put a little damper on your micromanagement abilities.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow, and Maka agreeing.
Now, of course,
apparently they hate lights. Why don't we could just
yeah, I mean, we are gamers here.
That's what I'm saying.
We're used to being in basements. And it looks like, DeMusliM has gone ahead and resumed the game now that the camera is on us. Fantastic.
Surprise.
So in the bottom left, it appears that both players are playing fairly standardly.
Right.
They get the barracks and the refinery reasonably quickly, so they can get some army early, but also some tech early.
Okay, and DeMusliM getting a little curious. Looks like he was scouting around to that right side below, making sure that Maka wasn't going for any super sneaky shenanigans. Oh, Maka making the most of his scout as well, stealing some yellow minerals to take all the way back to the base.
Here comes the attack.
Oh, a little bit of a battle. High five.
One hit on that SCV as it runs off.
So it does look like factory going down now in Maka's base. No second gas. This is the most important signifier of what your opponent is going to do when he takes that second gas geyser, as that really allows your tech to sprint forward. And a reactor going down for DeMusliM on that barracks.
Now, it seems like both of them so far have had very, very similar builds. Actually, on the production man, it's looking almost identical, aside from DeMusliM going for that reactor.
Yeah, which can make a huge difference, obviously. He's obviously going to do something, either a big marine push, or he might be looking to do a swap. We'll have to wait to see what he does. He might be looking to take that factory and go with those fast Hellions, which means that those supply depots at the choke might be significant to block this push by DeMusliM.
Now, this is a very weird play by DeMusliM, getting this Hellion this quickly and this reactor this quickly. Could perhaps be going for some marine Hellion push action early on. Very easy to do a bust. And again, like you were saying, interestingly, that this wall-off is not going to end up being a big problem, because this is a liability, of course, to have depots this far forward. It could actually help him against this block.
There's the first Hellion out from Maka.
There indeed is the first Hellion. Oh, looks like it's hiding up on the north side of the base. Doesn't want to reveal anything. And this other Hellion moving across map as well.
Both players, looks like, at least from the production menu, are pursuing very similar strategies across the board.
Yeah, and it's actually looking like right now DeMusliM is just slightly ahead, so we'll see how that comes into play. Like you always like to say, StarCraft 2 is a game of seconds. We have a little bit of micro happening out front, and Maka's going to be able to fend off DeMusliM. Oh, trying to get around and maybe choke DeMusliM. Telling you, might be able to see that Hellion go down. Only 6 HP remaining, only need 1 kill. Oh, a very nice shot up the hill.
Unbelievable last-second shot right there from Maka. Of course, very common to get just one Hellion, so that way you can poke around the map, shut down scouting. Looks like he's going for another push.
No, that's denied.
Not sure what the thought was there.
No reasoning behind that one, but you know, in a lot of circumstances, players are not trying to scout into the main to see exactly what's going on. They just try to count the number of units at the front of the base. So he just suicided that unit up just to see what was up, because he probably was surprised enough.
Yeah, so he probably wanted to see what the army was, and he was not at all ashamed to sacrifice the Hellion to check it out.
Yeah, now as DeMusliM starts to move across the center of the map, he now has his medevac coming up. It's going to catch up to his army pretty soon. But what I think is really interesting, Maka has opted for getting a Viking out on the map. Maybe he's hoping to possibly snipe the medevac that he could be expecting from DeMusliM.
And oh my gosh, this could actually be a huge push right now for DeMusliM. This is an extremely weird play, and there's the scan, and he sees the army composition at the front. These Marines do have one medevac there, so they'll
the Viking sets that on the ground.
Oh, there's the set down that's surrounding this Viking, and now it looks like huge arc right there for DeMusliM, but this wall off is going to help MakaPrime shut this attack down a little bit better. He is trying to kill as many Marines as he can so he can win just with the Marine count battle, and MakaPrime is in a terrible situation trying to make a medevac of his own, and one depot falls. That's the liability we were talking about. Helps you block, but now he's going to be losing supply, and a ton of Marines are taking serious damage. DeMusliM looks like he's just engaging a little bit of an exchange, but we see him 3 food ahead of his opponent.
Wow, really tight position at this point. Both players being very aggressive. He's moving again, and of course he's got to try to defend those supply depots. He doesn't really want to lose them at this point in the game. And that's the advantage DeMusliM has right now, is he's got the position. He gets to decide whether to fight or not.
Now, I'm actually very surprised that we didn't see DeMusliM continue to push with that initial wave. He ended up opting to take down that supply depot that was on the left side of the ramp. And I think that it really hurt him in that push, because he had a pretty good opportunity before we saw Maka's medevac get out that he really could have decimated Maka's army.
And now Maka with the siege tank coming back.
And this is going to be a very strong counter push, but the best part about what DeMusliM did during any attack, if you can set up an expansion, beautiful, beautiful lead that he has set up for himself. He needs to be very careful that he doesn't lose too much in this retreat, because he has very, very few units with which to defend. And here comes, oh no, the unit's not retreating properly. Oh my goodness, DeMusliM looked away for 1 second, lost half his army, and he might lose to this push right now.
Just a huge sacrifice there for very little gain. He just lost a bunch of Marines he really didn't want to lose, and now he's in a little bit of trouble, backing up across the map, trying to buy time to get more forces out on the field so he can survive this incoming attack.
Now, if DeMusliM was able to make it back to his base, yes, Siege Tech just finishes. He's now popping down his Siege Tank. Oh, that perfect play from DeMusliM. Delayed that push just long enough for him to finish that siege research and get into position to fend off Maka.
Can you believe these players? They are literally seconds away from every technology they need every time they need it. It's always so close. It's always so amazing to watch these guys play.
And that's always something so interesting, is that if you ask DeMusliM after the game, he's like, yeah, you just get the tank at the exact nanosecond you need it, no problem. Players are used to that sort of edge that they must deal with in every single matchup. And here MakaPrime is now going for a drop. Looks like MakaPrime realizes he can't be aggressive, and he's actually just going to leave this here right now. He's not going to move in with it yet.
Oh, just kidding.
He is going to move with it just yet.
Like you were saying, here he comes.
Indeed, exactly what I was saying. He's moving in aggressively right now, and he's going to be able to do some serious damage right now.